Okay. It maybe there's a big engine. Does it sound like an engine? There's a
Yes,
big
it sounds.
there's a big lawn truck parts. Oh, I think yeah, someone is servicing the oil here in the house. I'm at my mom's house in the USA, and the oil guy has come over to change the tank.
Don't
So
worry, because
I'm
it's not. I mean, you hear background noise, but it's not something that it's very annoying. Don't worry.
sure. I'll keep it muted when I'm not speaking, because I generally try to do that anyway, so that's no problem.
Cool.
Test.
Hi, Fred. I was able to hear you loud and clear.
Hear you. Hi.
Hi.
No, we can hear you loud and clear.
Hello. We can wait a few minutes for Sebastian, as he has confirmed that he will attend the meeting. Hello and welcome everyone to the CIP Meetings number 49. My name is Maria Angel Juve and I work as a project manager at the Cardano Foundation. It's my pleasure today to introduce you to our editors. We have Sebastian Guillemot, Frederick Johnson, and Robert Fair. Please note that this session will be recorded and made available in the Cardano Foundation YouTube channel, and please feel free to engage in the conversation by using the chat. To do so, hover over the button you have on the void channel. You will find open chat, and there you can leave your comments. We have left you the agenda for the meeting today there with the links to the PRs that are going to be discussed. In the past meeting, we ran into some problems with the audio. Some people weren't able to hear specific people talking. So if you start thinking that someone is having a conversation with themselves, please try to restart your browser, as you might be facing audio issues. So before starting, I would like to confirm with the editors that they are okay with the items on the agenda, or they want to add any other item.
All good here.
Well, I guess that the rest of the editors also agree. So let's start with the agenda. I would like someone to confirm that you are able to see my screen.
Yes.
Thank you, Fred. So we will start with the triage. The first item on the triage is bitwise primitives. So this is PR 283. So any of the editors want to give a brief explanation regarding this PR and the status?
Yeah, so although not an editor, Michael Payne Jones is the main one who was kind of leading this, and I don't think he is on this call. He's usually in these meetings. We may have to skip this one given it's not here.
So shall we wait until Michael joins the meeting, right? So he will give an overview of the PR.
Yeah, ideally that or somebody from MLab, somebody from MLab is here that wants to talk about this, even though Michael Payne Jones is not here, who's the main person who not only is reading it but leading the implementation. So that's also something we can do.
Okay. Sorry if you hear a baby, it's my sister's, which is around. So next item on the agenda is broken links on the website, which is PR 109. So this is under issues. We have like the pull requests, but organically by the community, we started to receive open issues. So I can make a brief summary of what I know. So there is CIP number CIP1.
Yeah, do we need to go over this PR? I think because there's a lot of people here who are not editors, so I think probably it's not worth their time to.
Okay.
And that one is closed, right? So we're good.
Can you repeat, Fred, please? Fred, were you saying something?
I was saying that it's been closed. For those who are not aware, there's an autogen site that is started on the site that lets you access directly the body of the PRs. The equivalent of GitHub. So it's on CIP.Cardano Foundation. It's resolved. I meant to say we can move to the next item on the agenda.
I think that I am still having issues accessing one of the items over here. So I'm still facing a broken link, but maybe we can take this offline. We can take this offline and we can go to the next item on the agenda, which is CIP 30, deprecate signed transaction and add chain signing.
Yeah, so I can talk about this one. So this is basically the fact that right now, whenever you want to chain transactions together using CIP30, it's kind of awkward. The reason why is because wallets need to show the user a confirmation prompt that tells them, what kind of transaction they're confirming, and needs to know what inputs to sign with what keys to sign with for the inputs. If the input for a transaction isn't on chain yet, there's no way for the wallet to easily know this information. And this leads to problems because users may want to submit multiple transactions on their favorite DEX, but they'll get an error saying like error, you're trying to use a UTX, so that isn't created yet, which is not a great user experience. So to solve this issue, we can allow dApps to kind of inject knowledge about pending transactions into the wallet. And this is the only real way to do it, because even if the wallet has like mempool support, this is not like a perfect solution, because it would solve issues where like you're chaining transactions that were all submitted through the wallet, but that's not always the case. So the only kind of generic solution to this is for the dApp itself to give hints about pending transaction state, so that the wallet can use this to send a transaction, assuming a specific UTX will be accepted. So to implement this feature, we basically modify CIP30 to add this kind of information to the signed transaction function. At the same time, we also modify the format of the endpoint to basically make it easier to modify this in the future. Questions?
So one of the question I had regarding that entire process is Rob on board with it? So Rob is the original author from CIP30 and
Yes.
the modification of by you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and you can see in the discussion on the CIP, there's also Marcel from Kernel that talked on this issue as well. The problem with this CIP is as all other modifications to CIP, there's no governance for CIP 30 that is explicit. So it's unclear when, if, how many changes to CIP 30 should be merged. So this PR, along with the next one we're talking after this, is just stuck in this limbo. So to avoid getting things stuck in limbo, I just want to spend some time coming up with a way to change the CIP30 structure to make it easier to have alternatives for various endpoints. And this is also something that the Catalyst team was interested in, because they also want to use the same kind of flexibility to potentially introduce like a governance API into CIP30. So it may be that we want to merge this regardless, or we may want to keep this CIP on hold until we get this, extended enable functionality that the Catalyst team also wants to be implemented, that will help their life and also help push this proposal through.
I feel that merging it will be the easiest path forward, but I agree that if this goes down that path, then it can just become a bigger mess later, and it might warrant a separate conversation. By the way, for anybody interested in participating, there's a CIP chat room. I can see that Andrew's well in right there. I don't know how to proceed regarding this one. Rob, how do you feel?
Rob, I don't know if you are talking, but at least me, I am not able to listening to you.
He's just
I
really
am
quiet.
hearing Rob.
Okay.
Maya's just restarting the stream. She'll be right back.
You can refresh the page. Now I can hear you too, Rob.
Okay. Yeah, both of the options that Sebastian said sound good to me. I think it would be great to have some kind of governance process for this because there are so many contributions. I think it would be great to include Rob on the governance question itself, and then maybe go ahead with this, or maybe wait. I don't have any particular opinion about it. Now I've lost everybody.
Yeah, we'll see if the Catalyst team is interested in pushing forward their potential change to CIP30 for the enable function. This is something that was discussed, but not something that they've decided on. It's still an open question. But if you decide to spend time on that, you may as well move in that direction. If revisiting this issue in 2 months time, so letting this move forward, we can decide to just merge and move on.
Shall we ping anyone in the comments, or because you were talking about a person that I thought it was Rob, but then I understood it was another person that is involved in this PR.
It's Rob with the 9 O's in the middle. R-O-O-O-O.
Yeah, Rob Aptius. He's a DC Spark employee.
So
The other more involved option, yes, please. Ping him in the comments is going to be good. The other option will be to maybe fork the PR and just make it clear that it has a governance component where people can add and modify it, even though they're not the main author. Otherwise, if we get the authors backing to merge this.
So that's what Matthias is wanting to work on. He's talked about potentially writing this.
Okay.
So what do you want to do? How do you want to follow with this one?
Yeah, I would just put this on pause because there's not really a rush to merge it, and then see in 1 to 2 months time what's happening with the Catalyst folks, and if they help us come up with a new registration standard for a CIP30, that would solve this issue.
You are okay. You are right, because I needed to. Thank you very much for that. Okay, now should be able to, right? So perfect. We are going to put this on hold, and we are going to ping Rob. Any of you want to do it? If not, I can do it myself, but I need to know what exactly do you want from Rob.
Yeah, I don't think you need to ping him. I don't think it'll move anything forward.
I think if we can just add a comment, Maria, feel free to take it on. Just that this is on pause until we have a clear path for CIP30 and how to add from external contributors.
This is on hold. Can you repeat, Fred, something about CIP30, right, that we are waiting?
Until some kind of governance path can be discussed further regarding updating the CIP without being the lead author.
Yeah. Make sense like this?
Do we also want to add something that the question is being pursued in the Catalyst proposal? Did I get that right?
No. This is the Catalyst team is working on a feature that where they may also benefit from the same solution that this CIP would benefit from.
I got it.
governance point of view.
Okay, thanks. Never mind then.
Shall we write it, or it's not necessary?
No, you can leave it out.
Okay, perfect. Good. Then we can move to the next item on the agenda, which is also CIP 30, adding optional network ID parameter to enable.
Yeah, and this one is stuck for the same reason.
Okay. So let's leave the same comment. So then we have in last sec CIP 54 Cardano Smart NFTs.
So this one was waiting for feedback from NFT marketplaces, if I remember correctly, right? Or was it a separate one?
I think it's a separate one because there are one that includes a marketplace with its NFT market verification. And this one was added to the developers digest newsletter. But this wasn't requested a specific input from marketplaces. If you need it, we can do it. But for a conversation I had with Matthias, only the other one required a specific input from NFT marketplaces.
So what was the blocker?
Can you repeat?
I think it. So the blocker for the CIP was this blocked for the same reason as the fungible token standard, which is the security concerns about leveraging the mint transactions again. I think in general, probably the CIP will want to reflect the upcoming changes to Vassal, which gives them a better solution to the problem they're trying to solve. So their approach may be somewhat deprecated by this. And in fact, there's two CIPs that were introduced in this. We created the agenda 66 and 68 that kind of tackle the same problem, I believe, but using Vassal features.
From the notes that I have from previous meeting, there was like, I think that the author was about to create, to do an implementation. And if implemented, we are going to move it to active. But I don't have more information if this has happened.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't remember a reason in particular to avoid merging it other than the concerns that were raised by the approach and the fact that we may want to revisit this in the context of the newly introduced Vassal hard fork changes.
So you suggest that we wait until Basil?
No. I'm just saying that they may want to add a section about this or consider their API given these new features, or maybe they don't care. I don't know. But as far as I'm concerned, as long as they have an implementation, I don't mind merging it. I don't think there's anything technically wrong about the proposal.
Right, just approved the PR right now, so we would be missing one approval.
Yeah, there's conflicts to resolve.
Hold on a sec. Okay.
It's a matter of picking the numbering. So I think 54th will be fine.
Now we have. No. So, Fred, are you trying to solve these conflicts, or shall we wait and do it offline?
Do it offline. Do it after this.
Good. So once the conflicts are resolved, shall we merge it offline, or shall we leave it to merge online in the next meeting?
I think it's going to be fine to merge after this meeting once it's there. I'm just looking at it, and it's just the tentative proposals that are in the work, and it's just a matter of moving it. So Rob or Sebastian, you've been doing the last ones if you want to do this one. Otherwise, it should
Yeah,
be fine to do it in the next couple of days.
I'll have a look after the meeting goes. I'm looking at it right now, but we'll finish it up after the meeting.
Okay, perfect. So this is going to be merged offline. And then under review, we have 2 items. The first one is additional factors for NFT market verification. This is the one that we send communication to some of the NFT marketplaces to give us feedback. So I don't know if any one of you would like to make a summary for our audience today on regards of this PR. I thought it was me, that I wasn't listening to anyone, but I think that is it me? So
No, I think it's just that nobody has comments.
okay. So let's go to the comments. So no feedback since my last comment. Yes. No, I do. Sorry. As nobody was speaking, I thought that I had audio issues and I reset it. Perfect. So these are the marketplace that were approached, but I am not aware that they have provided feedback either in Discord or not in the PR. I mean, in the PR there are no more comments. So I don't know if you want to wait a few weeks more. Maybe we can try to contact the marketplaces again. So if you agree, what I think we could do is to try to reach them again. So maybe now, Yes, maybe to take this back after Basil. So next item of the agenda is PR 242. This is the PR around Charlottesville decentralization. We have a specific channel here to discuss this PR. I don't know if any of you want to give a brief summary on the status of this.
Yeah, I think this one is still pending some sort of response from IoT, right?
Yes, I think there's Kevin here. I don't know, maybe if he wants to.
Just that the author has accepted the possibility that maybe there won't be a response from IOG and is prepared to go ahead with this in one way or another. It's one of the things that came out in the discussion off in the Discord, the other channel.
Yeah, I mean, if there's no response from IoT, there's no reason not to merge this, right? Just because it's merged, then that means Cardano has to implement it. From that perspective, if they feel the discussion is fine, and if they've given up hope on receiving a response from IoT, then I think we should just merge this.
I would be fine with that.
Where there's no same here. Just want to bring your attention to the chat. The stove is currently here for CIP 50 and can't call in, but he's currently typing some comments.
So I'm going to bring Kevin on stage, so maybe he can give us an update from IOG. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, everyone. Nice to speak to you. Hopefully you're hearing me okay.
Yes, perfect.
Excellent. That's great. So the story of CIP 50 is we've looked at this, we've evaluated internally. We think it's an interesting suggestion. We're keen to progress this a bit further. We obviously have a few other things on our plates at the moment, but we think it's a great opportunity to engage with the community and to discuss these ideas. So I won't make any commitment on IOG's behalf at this point in time, but I would make positive noises to the author. I would definitely make positive noises to the author. And as Sebastian knows, we're hoping that once we've got an opportunity, probably after Basel, we can then start to progress discussion on this and similar issues. We think it's a great way to engage with the community. I think some good ideas coming out of this and other proposals.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Kevin. So,
And if I could just
go ahead.
add,
Yes.
if I could just add, I suspect people think that IOG is ignoring all the great work you're doing. That's absolutely not the case. We have people who are monitoring the SIPs, going through them, looking at the ideas. And as I was saying, we obviously we don't have the capacity to progress them all at the moment. But we're taking stock of them, and we will see what we can do as we move forward to the new frameworks that are being set up, Voltaire, etc.
Thank you very much, Kevin. That is very, very nice to hear.
Kevin, while you're on, do you see the last question that came into the chat?
No, I'm not sure I've got the chat.
There's a little
Available.
button in the upper right-hand corner. In case you can't get it, there's just a question about the.
Oh yeah.
Do you see it?
Okay. Right. This is so. The question is from the stuff. Is that right? Will
Yes.
IoT release the RSS game theory? We can ask the researchers that we have some analysis that was done internally. I think most of the game theory results are published, but I don't know whether the raw data is published. Tell us exactly what you would like. When we start to engage with you, we can certainly see what we have available, and I don't think there's any issue with sharing any of that information with the community. So this information that IOG has produced, but don't quote me on that, right? But to re-emphasize what I said earlier, there's real willingness and enthusiasm for engaging with the community to the ecosystem and the core going forwards.
Good. So next meeting, which is in 2 weeks, from the CF, we would like to have Reza Ramazan to join. He is a blockchain researcher, and he will also give us his input on this CIP. Anyone else has anything to add on this PR?
Well, okay here.
This is like everything that we had included in the agenda. So we have left 25 minutes. I don't know if you want to review any specific PR. Rob, you mentioned one that you wanted to review. Maybe we can go to it.
Do you mean me?
Yeah, I think that you shared one PR to bring into the agenda that was not urgent, but as we have time left, maybe we can review that one. Just let me go through it.
That was an issue rather than a PR, and we dealt with it already at the beginning. It was issue 109. We have some pending discussion. Rather than try to fix the problems as they come up in the existing system, to try to come up with an alternative framework that's going to be a little bit easier to manage. For people that weren't following issue 109, this is the website generator that generates cips.cardano.org from the GitHub CIP repository. And it's a bit clunky, consisting of a bunch of scripts. And Matthias had some suggestions in issue 109 about maybe using Hugo, with DocuSource being a little bit too heavy. So if there were, but without Matthias being here at the meeting, I don't think it makes sense to include it in today's discussion. And it's also not an urgent issue.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's a few CIPs that haven't been reviewed yet, but are ready to be reviewed. Notably 62, 66, 68. I think 62 might be a bit early for that one, because there's still a lot of things in the air. But we can introduce it for anybody interested. So this is basically Catalyst is moving towards a system called DREPs, where basically people can delegate their Catalyst voting power to other people. And to be able to do this in a decentralized way, we need to enable basically anybody to sign up to be DReps, and we also need wallets and dApps to be able to create transactions that delegate your voting power to these DReps or other people. This CIP defines the changes to CIP30, which is why I mentioned previously that the Cali team may be interested in changing the enable function for CIP30 in general to make it easier for making changes to CIP30 because they also changes to CIP30. So that's just the background. There's still some ongoing discussions about the right format API for this SIP, but just FYI that it's out there for anybody interested. No other comment or questions? We can move on to maybe SIP 68. Or
Sorry, could I just say, Sebastian, so SIP 62, the proposed SIP 62, there's already been some discussion with wallets. So what we're doing is to try to open up discussion to the community. One of the procedural questions is what's the best way to extensions to...
Kevin, your audio's cutting in and out somehow. Anybody else having issues?
Right, it's Discord. Let me try again. So what I was saying is there's been some discussion with some wallet providers on SIP 62, the proposed SIP dApp connector. What we're doing here is to open up the discussion to the broader community and to ask for general feedback. One of the procedural points that's come up is what's the best way to provide extensions to SIP 30. So what we don't want to do is to completely replace it. What we want is a mechanism that says, you've got SIP 30, here's an extension. Or in this case, it's for voting, but it might be that we need extensions to SIP 30 for other purposes too. So we want a way for people to be able to say, oh, you have access to SIP 30, but not SIP 62. You have access to SIP 30 and some new SIP, and so on. So that there's a way to basically select sensibly between different extensions to the base dApp connector. So that's the question, I think, for the people on this call.
So maybe Kevin, if you want to make to make the question again, so the editors can answer you if they know it.
Yes, it's not a question we need answered immediately. We are happy just to raise it with you and for you to think about it. But one of the core questions is when we provide extended capability to SIP 30, what is the mechanism that we should be using to enable that? So should we be saying providing some completely self-contained SIP? Should we be saying, oh, this SIP requires SIP 30? What if you've got two incompatible SIPs both building on SIP 30? So it's starting to raise questions about how do you extend existing capabilities and how do you enable interoperability. Happy to raise these questions on the PR itself, of course, just to make sure you're aware of them.
Could be great. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, well, an issue came up like this with SIP 13, which is for a URI scheme, and it seemed for 2 or 3 months that there were going to be other people presenting different syntaxes into the URI scheme, and that if there was a possibility of getting more than one or two of those, it would make sense for each of those to be presented as its own CIP. So that turned out not to be necessary, but we were prepared to have the individual authors for each of those extensions to the URI scheme submit their own CRP explaining it in detail, so it wouldn't have to be coordinated, or accountability or advocacy for the SIP wouldn't have to be shared with the original authors of SIP 13. So I think that this is one of those cases that would that would do well with that approach as well.
Yes, we're absolutely happy with that. This is more of a technical question about enabling the extension. So how do you enable the extension consistently in the API? So there needs to be some discussion about that. Sebastian can probably comment on this, but you can imagine having, say, CIP 62 and CIP 63, which both provide extensions to CIP 30, but which are mutually incompatible. And then you need to have some way to say, I can support CIP 62, but not CIP 63, or I can support CIP 30. There basically has to be a way for the user to select between the different capabilities in a consistent way. Let me make sure that question gets raised properly as a comment on the SIP.
That would be fantastic. Thank you very much, Kevin. So shall we move to CIP 68? I think you mentioned, Sebastian, that this was one that was worthwhile mentioning.
Yeah, so basically, with the introduction of Vassal, it's possible to mimic global state for a smart contract. But basically having some UTX entry that holds some special NFT be denoted as the UTX entry that contains the global state of the contract. This CIP 68, is basically a standardization for this exact feature, with some emphasis on NFTs, but also not just for NFTs. The interesting thing about their proposal is that they want to have a single minting policy that handles everything. So instead of having one minting policy for the global state NFT and one minting policy for the actual NFT series, if this is an NFT mint, and then one NFT for other standards, or sorry, one script for other standards, they all want to have all of this handled by a single script, all in one script. And they document how they would do this with an all-in script by basically stuffing information into the asset name, which, as you may remember, asset name on Cardano is just an arbitrary binary string. So they can data they want it there as sort of standard. That's basically the idea of the CIP. The downside of doing this is, one, of course, you need to have one master minting script. That may be kind of awkward to deal with, especially if new standards come out in the future. You can't support these new standards with your existing NFT projects. And the other thing that's awkward about this is the cost of the approach line described in the CIP is also extremely large. And then last thing I forgot to mention is that also this reduces the amount of space you have for asset needs, because it adds a prefix to everything. These are like the three core issues with the CIP, but I don't see any technical issues with the CIP as it's described. Obviously, there are some practical issues that may mean that people may not want to take this approach. And actually, if you're interested in a separate way to tackle basically the exact same problem, you can look at CIP 66, which is by NMaker, which is a proposal for DIDs on Cardano, but actually the approach they did for DIDs is another alternative structure that's kind of like, I wouldn't say a competitor, but an alternative to CIP 68 that we're looking at right now.
Any comments on this one? Shall we bring any of these two last PRs to the next meeting agenda?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds great. These are things that I'd like to hear from Matthias about. The last couple of them are technically, I can't really contribute anything about them. I'm sure that he could, though.
Perfect. We have 12 minutes left. Do you want to review another one, or do you want to go directly to a wrap up and close the session?
I'm okay with wrapping up.
Perfect. Any one of you, do you want to do the closing? If not, I have notes on the PR and I can do it myself.
One check on pull request 263. The conflicts have been resolved. Sebastian, if you want to add your take on this one and merge it, I think we're good to move it forward at CIP 54.
Nice.
Good to
So,
close otherwise.
So if you like to merge it online, that would be great.
Sebastian, do you want to do it?
Oops.
Yeah, if they're not interested in making changes of their functionality based off the vessel hard work, then I don't see any problem merging it. Worst case, they can just come in and modify their fully merged CIP later.
Okay, perfect. So let's do a wrap up of the session today. We have briefly mentioned CIP 58 bitwise primitives, but we have decided to wait until we have Michael Payton in the call. We have briefly reviewed broken links on the website, but we are going to leave this discussion offline. We have reviewed two PRs related to CIP 30, deprecate signed transaction and add chain signing, and adding optional network ID parameter to enable. Both of them are on hold because we are waiting on a governance process on CIP 30. Then we have PR 263 Cardano Smart NFTs. It is the one that we have merged now online. This has been approved and merged during the meeting. We have CIP 50 that we had Kevin on stage, and he has mentioned that IOG is really willingness to engage with this PR, and this is probably to be done after Basil hard fork. And if they have not engaged yet, it is for a lack of capacity. I would like to thank Kevin for his intervention today. It's very much appreciated. Then we have reviewed CIP 44, additional factors NFT market verification. This one, what we are going to do is to ping again the marketplaces and try to get their feedback. And then we have reviewed CIP 62, governance API for dApp connectors, dApp wallet web bridge. In it, Sebastian has walked us through this PR. And Kevin has raised a question regarding how to extend the capability of CIP 30. This question is going to be added to the PR itself, and the editors are going to review and go back to Kevin with an answer. And finally, we have reviewed CIP 68 datum metadata standard, where Sebastian has worked through the PR. And we are going to keep this CIP 68 and 62 for review in the next meeting. Thank you very much all for attending. A special thanks to Kevin that has shared his view on stage. And well, next meeting is going to be held on August the 2nd at 8:30 a.m. UTC. I'll be on holiday, so my colleague Anthony Mayer will take over, and I will wish you all a very great summer and see you after the summer. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.